stream.
Yes. So let me know when we're live.
You're live on YouTube now.
Oh,
it
fun.
Takes a little while to get live on Facebook.
Right.
Facebook's weird. And then I just have to there's so much extra crap you gotta do. It's a pain.
No rest for the wicked.
I understand why nobody wants to do this but me. I don't fully understand why I want to do it. But I understand why nobody else does.
Yeah.
Now I have to go check and make sure we went live. Yeah, we did.
Yay, we are live.
Yay, things are happening.
Sundays, Fundays.
Nobody cares.
Is anybody watching yet?
I don't know. There's some. It takes a little
Probably
while.
Sunday.
Yeah. I think there's not many. I mean, you've been streaming for 30 seconds. So
Yeah. I was just checking.
Look, people are giving you contents and stuff like Troy and Ashley.
What?
Troy and Ashley are commenting.
Oh, nice.
And Jenny Ingram. They're just saying hi, basically.
Hello.
And you have a countdown. You have 1 minute, 43 seconds left.
Sweet. I'm going to eat my Rice Krispie Square and catch as much of this race as I can right now.
Who's
hey,
winning?
actually, Tyler Reddick is on TV right now, and you got to sit in his car. Actually, your son did.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that was. I just knew.
Yeah, he's good.
It was
I like that guy.
It was a because I don't know. You've never been to a race, so you don't know about race
No.
girls.
I don't know about what?
Race girls.
Oh, no.
Race girls are if we're being honest, they're either models or strippers that companies hire to come to an event and wear really, really tight revealing clothing and get people to come into their booths. You call them booth girls and a lot of things. Anyway, I didn't know anything about the car. I just knew there was a race girl going, come sit in the car. And I was like, all right,
yeah,
sit in the car.
Yep, that was his.
Yeah.
He's good too. I like him.
Nice.
He's a good up and comer. Yeah.
The only racer that was there that I knew was Travis Pastrana, and nobody liked him.
No.
Except me.
He had an alright day though.
Yeah, he got lucky.
Then there was that Connor Daly.
What is
roller derby is cool. Yeah. Connor Daly was also there. I think he's a rally driver or something.
Oh, I just know Travis Pastrana because of all of the Nitro Circus, Gymkhana, Ken Block, weird shit he did.
Yeah. Jake Paul lost his fight, eh?
Huh? I don't know.
Jake Paul, he lost his most recent fight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just happened today, so.
Oh, does anybody actually think he's fighting?
No.
Okay. All right. Because didn't he try to fight like Mike Tyson or something?
He wants to. He's talked about it. I know he's fought Floyd Mayweather, and he beat him.
Yeah, then he's 100% set up. If you beat Floyd Mayweather, it's 100% a setup.
Yeah. I know. Well, I got my stuff. I'm not in normal studio setup, so.
It's Sunday Funday, and we have no questions. So we were supposed to do stupid questions for stupid people, which we are the stupid people. Don't get that wrong.
Yeah.
It's the two of us. We're stupid. But nobody really gave questions, right? They were we don't want to ask stupid people questions. So I don't know what to talk about. I've been out of this for so long. I got no idea what's going on.
Well, there were some comments and a couple questions, and then of course Sunday sent us something. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can have my phone standing on this Pringles can. So let us up here. Yay!
It's professional podcasters here.
Yes, we are professional podcasters. Don't let the splashy exterior fool you. Okay, pick a question. Let's talk about it. It's got to be something.
Dude, I don't have the questions. I thought you had the questions.
What? No, well, I'll go to. Do I? If I do this,
aren't you?
Hold on, I'm gonna go to the thing.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Hi.
What was the thing? Where were the questions?
Oh my God, trying to find the questions post that I made, and now I got a baby crawling on me, and people sending me friend requests. Okay, so let's see. First question, besides the podcast and the Public Works Wiki, where can I look to find the best, most definitive explanation of the Chicago and Cleveland solves?
You need something other than Rob and Tim and Eric telling you exactly how they did it on the podcast?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You could go back in time and watch them.
You could maybe go to the places.
That's about as good as like you're gonna get to get better than them telling you about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So then there's another one here.
I've never read the wikis thing for that. Is it even correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I tend to stay away from that page.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's another one. This one is from Bobby Carroll. He says, it seems like Roanoke had a lot of steam for a bit, and I think most thought that would be the next one solved. However, it seems to have quieted down a bit. Of the remaining casks, which do you both think will be found next?
That question always comes up, and who knows?
New Orleans.
Okay.
That's my answer. I don't have a reason why. It's just that's my answer.
The tribute. I'll go with the tribute because I've
never
used that one before.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this one is for me specifically. It says, Cole, as our Canadian expert, I've often questioned the Montreal. Sorry, I got to move you. Painting. The bottom right of his hair, in my opinion, says justice. Is there a clue for Montreal that would work for that? I always thought that painting saying justice points to verse 7. No, well, that's wrong because it's verse 5. And I don't know. You're blowing my ear.
I think they're saying that painting should go with the San Francisco verse.
Should go with the San Francisco verse. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But
They said that
I mean,
Montreal got fired.
I'm glad that question was directed at you and not me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, verse 5 is there, and so.
I mean, it's all subjective, right? Do what you want.
It is
kind of.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean,
I feel like for the longest time we were like, no, you have to do it this way, but it's whatever now. It's at the point where there's like two groups. There's the groups that are working on the I don't want to say what we know is correct because that sounds like an asshole thing. But like the there's a group of people who are working on the cities and painting and verse pairings that have evidence, and then there are some that aren't. And one doesn't really affect the other. So let them go on. Like as long as you're decent about it, I don't care. Like, as long as you're not an asshole.
Yeah, we've dealt with enough of those.
Yeah. So who cares? If you think it says justice, you run with that, man.
Run with that, yeah. See where it takes you. I mean, there is that very definitive curl in his hair, and a lot of people think that that's like a 6. Some people think it's a 9. Some people think it's a J. You know, and like you say, just run with that. You know what I mean? If you think you see something there.
Andrew Pierce says, "What's the chance the San Francisco picture is for New York?" You mean New York wouldn't be the one with the gigantic Statue of Liberty in the painting? I mean, I feel like that's pretty strong.
Yeah. Be hard to question that one.
It would be very difficult to question that one. Yeah. What do you see as the biggest challenge? Oh, okay, I'll ask you this one, Cole. We can both answer it, whatever.
Okay.
What do you see? This is Johnny Windex. Jesus Christ.
Hey, Windex.
His first part of his comment was first time listener, long time caller. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the current state of the union for the secret, and what should be done to address and overcome the challenge? Okay, so there's 2 parts to that question, so we'll just go with the first part first. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the current state of the union for the secret?
Geez, I don't know. I think like I want to say this is going to sound really mean at first, but I'll clarify. Lack of communication skills. I think, is something that's kind of plaguing the groups a lot. And that's not to say that people are like really terrible at talking or anything like that. I mean, some are, but I think like people are they get so set in what they believe to be right about the puzzles, right? So like the St. Louis thing, any of the alternative city theories that you read and stuff like that, like nobody says I think, or maybe this is my opinion, but, or anything like that, right? It's always this is this, right? And they're so definitive all the time, like so absolute. And that's something that needs to, that doesn't help the puzzle at all, right?
Yeah.
Like this whole puzzle is trial and error, right? Essentially. And,
like, not, and in addition to communication, I think like perspective, like people have to put what they're doing in perspective. Like this is a children's book from 1982. Like,
yeah.
why are you arguing about it? Why does it mean that much? Could you imagine two groups of adults arguing over like Pokey Little Puppy, and whether or not Puppy was a fucking beagle or like a Jack Russell Terrier, like that? Like they stake their egos on it being a Jack Russell Terrier, and it's like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing to me. Like people are, I don't know. I think like when you're an adult, you lose hobbies and you lose sort of excitement, and like you find something like this and it gives you, like, it makes you feel like you're smart, and it makes you feel like you have an adventure in your life, and you get so freaking tied up in it that you forget that it's a children's book that didn't sell well in 1982. You know, like get over it. Get over it. If this is what's important in your life, you should work on your life like a little bit.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The second part of his question, I have to scroll back up because we had a lot of comments. What should be done to address and overcome the challenge? There's nothing we could do.
I sneaked.
No, there's nothing we as a community. Like, I think it's helpful when you point out when someone's being an asshole, and then I hate to say you segment them, but you do. You like get them away from the community, because the community in general, like 99% of this community just wants to have fun. And I think like the people who keep the 99% from having fun, if you segment them, then but everybody else will have fun. I feel like most of the people that don't comment or don't make posts in the group are because they're afraid of that 1% of people,
Yeah.
And screw it. Get those 1% of the people to the asshole groups.
Yeah.
Let them be assholes to each other over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah. Just got to clean up the group a little, I guess.
What's the biggest benefit and positive that the community offers?
Collaboration.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, that's one big benefit. Because that collaboration brings a lot of stuff out, right? It brings creative people together who create tools and who create information and just, whatever. Friends, that's a pretty big benefit to me.
Friends, that's a pretty big one, yep.
Yeah. Let's see. More comments. Statement of their facts. Yins. This person is from up north. I like to. Jesse Hanshaw said, "I like to think all the casks are still there and able to be found. But if any have been destroyed, which ones do Yins think would be the most likely gone?" As a Southern man, that Yins is like
It's like Ewins. It's y'all times 3.
Yins. It's
Yins.
y'all. It's y'all.
Yeah.
Which one do you think? What? Guess. It's a guess,
Roanoke.
Because you don't know.
Yeah, the one's closest to water, I think. Like, NOLA, friggin' Roanoke, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think those ones, if anything, if they're lost, or like, if any of them are lost, I think to like weather or whatever, then I think it would be those ones.
Me and Robert Jenner did a thing. He wanted to do like an episode about real life treasure hunting in St. Augustine. He kind of wanted to avoid the secret. He wanted to talk about other shit.
Yep.
And one of the questions that was ultimately asked was about the secret, and it was like, what if it's destroyed? What if the one? I think he asked me. He was like, what? With all the construction and stuff in St. Augustine, what do you think the likelihood of the St. Augustine ones being destroyed? I don't think it's very likely that any of them are destroyed. I feel like people come out and say shit like, you know, I dug my hole, but they, you know, built a flagpole or they moved a planter and the cask was likely destroyed during that, or they renovated, so that's why the cask wasn't there. I feel like that's a cop-out because, like, you can go metal detecting and find coins that have been sitting 3 to 4 inches below the dirt for 100, 200 years, right?
Yeah.
Like, dirt doesn't get moved that much. The earth is big, and these casks are small. And even when you're doing construction, like, people aren't digging up 2 feet of dirt to build a planter box or to install a road.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look to Boston for that too, right? Like they had to dig really deep for that whole thing, but you know, I think people sometimes maybe misconceive the idea that, you know, the construction would ruin these things. Like, I mean, if you've seen the pictures that from Global News of the Mount Stephen Club renovations, right? That's like they tore that fucker up, man. Like it's ripped up. So if that thing was there,
I mean, like, digging, but there's exceptions. Like that one was crazy because they were digging down to the foundation, or like the Lions, the Lions Bridge, the Lake Park bridges, the Lions bridges, Lake Park. Where they had to dig below the foundation and resurface and widen or whatever the entire bridge. Like there, you know, there's exceptions, but in general, I think people get so caught up in their ideas, like, and they're so insistent that they're right. That when they don't find anything, they have to have an excuse other than I was wrong.
Other than I was wrong, yeah.
So they're like, oh, it was destroyed. Like, you know, some lady planted a rose bush and dug it up and just threw it away. You know, whatever.
Yeah, there's no way I could be incorrect.
Where it's like, you know, it's so much easier, and nobody in these groups, aside from a couple of people, have casks. So it's not like saying, you know, I was wrong. Can you help me figure out what was wrong? Makes you look dumb or anything.
No,
you know.
I think it's like
unless you came into the group going like everybody else is wrong and I only know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody else is sheep.
Oh God, that was.
I kind of wish that guy was still in the group so he could watch this. But I think like it's
on YouTube.
As a community, I think we can thrive on being wrong. You know what I mean? Like the more wrongs we have, the more we narrow down where the rights are. You know what I mean? So like you say, like if the community could do more of that, then it would be fantastic. And if we could ever get the damn program where we can start knocking off where people are digging, you know what I mean? Like we need to figure out a way to do that. And
well, you have to guarantee that people are honest. And I just don't. I think that people overestimate their digs. You know, they'll dig like 8 inches in the because people don't realize how hard it is to dig 2 feet. So people dig like 8 inches and they'll be like, "Oh, I dug this hole and it's not there, so we can cross that off the list."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah.
Question? Somebody keeps.
That was a good question.
It was.
What are you doing?
I'm hiding from Mama because
there's so many comments that it's hard to scroll back. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at that post and see if there's anything in there.
What you were talking about before, like the secret, nobody's gonna just bust open the secret, right? Like even Jason Krupat, he came in, he found a cask. He still didn't bust anything open. No. Everything that we know about the secret is incremental. Like we learn something and then we narrow that thing down, or we learn something and we find out that's not exactly correct, and then we, you know, it's all incremental. So if you can add incremental value, that's almost more valuable than finding a cask. Because like I always point back to Robert Fox. He found latitude and longitude coordinates. It was incremental value. It wasn't a huge thing, but he'll never be forgotten. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Cheers to Robert Fox. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Somebody said they can't hear me. I'm going to turn myself up. And if it drowns you out, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I got running, screaming children in my house, so.
Let's see. Do you think Lincoln Park in San Francisco is completely off limits due to the unfortunate history of it being a mass burial ground? I think all mass graves are off limits.
Really? That is a mass burial ground? That's a bummer. That's part of where I was looking at.
I didn't know.
San Francisco.
I didn't know that either.
That's funny. I guess I won't be looking there anymore.
I feel like there would be some sort of paper trail if they found something during construction with the ages of these casks, plus the potential historical conservation piece for most parts. Generally, like in a lot of these places, if Roanoke's doing some construction and Roanoke digs one of these things up, there's going to be a paper trail. Charleston, paper trail. St. Augustine, paper trail. New York, not so much. They find shit all the time. New Orleans, no. San Francisco, no.
Montreal, not likely, but you never know.
Is JJP upset with how Boston was solved not being dug up by a shovel? I don't think he cares.
No.
Whoa. Somebody dropped something in my house.
Uh-oh.
My opinion. I think Jason Sell said, I think the reason for the fake San Francisco cask is if he convinced people it was found, then he would stop looking for it. And he would be the only one looking for the real one, in reference to your people being honest about digs. So Gerald Gay, I mean, we know why he faked it. So Expedition Unknown was doing 2 shows. They were doing a show on the Golden Owl, and they were planning a second episode on Expedition Unknown. And Gerald Gay was the focus of the Golden Apple. They've recorded all kinds of shit with Gerald Gay. Like, he was the focus of that episode. Him and that other guy that he worked with, the Caspian or whatever, the guy that it was actually in the episode. Gerald Gay was the focus. And Gerald Gay was trying to convince them that he was the best treasure hunter ever, even though he really hadn't done much. And he wanted to be the focus of the Expedition Unknown Secret episode as well. So that's likely why he faked it, to show everybody, oh, he could just go to America, over the weekend and dig one of these things up because he's such a great treasure hunter.
Yeah.
Turns out, like, he didn't realize we were kind of good at this shit.
Spoiler
Golden
alert.
Apple. I meant Golden Owl. Yeah. So.
It'd be fun to interview that guy.
Gerald Gay? He threatened to sue me. Do you know how many times? Yeah. Because I put all of his,
you exposed him.
Yeah, basically, and I put like everything he communicated to me, all of the emails and stuff. They were all like vicious and weird and accusatory, and he was acting like a pompous asshole. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna put all these online and let everybody read them. And he was like, well, that's against international law. And I was like, well, we're in America, and
yeah,
it's not against American law.
Nope.
So he got very mad.
No kidding.
George, you are still quieter than Cole. Okay. I'll just bump up my mic some more. I don't know. I don't want to.
I'm also like 6 inches from my phone, so that's probably why I'm kind of loud.
I gotta move my mic closer. Oh yeah, it's John's birthday today.
Happy birthday, John Jude Pelankar.
Yeah. I've been playing, like, you know this. I've been playing with AI voice synthesis, and I made President Biden wish him a happy birthday. I wonder if I
still want you to do a Marilyn
Manson.
Manson.
I don't know what I would have him say.
I don't know. You have until my birthday to figure it out.
All right, I'm gonna do that. It's far cheaper than like Cameo.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Just make anybody.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Let me see. Can I play that thing from John?
That would be sweet.
I don't know if I can play it.
I could probably try.
I mean, if you play it, you can't stream it.
Oh, right.
Stream it.
So only I will hear it?
Only you will hear it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, that's fun. I can see our stream right now on Facebook.
Nice. I know for a fact I can.
Hey, we have subtitles, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't
I
know
know for
that.
a fact I can play everybody the audio. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Let's see. Yeah, so I was playing with AI voice synthesis. President Biden made a birthday thing for John Palancar, and here it is. Oh, that's super low. Hang on. There we go.
You know what's totally rad about doing this on my phone instead of with my computer?
Yeah.
I can go out and smoke and still do this.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, I don't think anybody can hear that thing, so I posted it on Facebook. It's fine. Everybody can.
Yeah, that was good. I
was
liked the one about. I liked when President Biden gave his opinion on the secret podcast.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Brett is lame."
Brett is lame. Stephen Bryant said it's fucking scary. You have no idea. No idea.
Apparently, there's a that Chat GPTAI or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, I don't even use that. Like, it's
apparently it's like written its own movie and stuff. Like, there's movies made that it's just making on its own, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wrote a script and had a cast. And
it writes its own programs, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Dad, where are you doing?
Sit on the deck for a minute.
That's milk.
That's right. You go have your bath.
I don't want to.
Well, you're tough. You need to have a bath. George, tell him to have a bath.
Have a bath.
No, I won't.
Somebody asked about a conversation.
Well, I'm closing this. Fingers. Say what?
And somebody asked about a conversation, and I can't find the conversation.
Oh.
Regarding the San Francisco puzzle, my opinion, yada, yada, yada. My opinion, the face in the painting facing the sky is Lincoln, but others have said it's JFK or Reagan. I've heard a story. Matthew Sparks was on the phone interview with the Palancar family. When asked the question about the subject, JJP, his wife, and Kit said in unison, it's Lincoln. What's your opinion?
Maverick,
Have you heard about this conversation? Is it true? Conversation's kind of true. Kind of true. He did say Lincoln. Whether or not Matt was on the phone is up for debate. But he did say Lincoln.
John did?
Hmm? According to JM. Like, as far as I know, JM was the only one there. It was when they were working on the tribute thing, and John and Kit were sitting on John's kitchen table, and they were talking about elements from the secret paintings to put in the tribute painting. And he was talking about hiding a face, and he was talking about the San Francisco image, and he pointed to Kit the face in the San Francisco image, like the little outline silhouette thing. And he was like, some people think this is Reagan. Some people think it's JFK. Some people think it's some other. Some people think it's Lincoln. Some people think it's JFK. Some people think it's these other people. And John shouted out, "It's Lincoln." Okay. Cole is gone now. He is gone. Yes, that's the story that I got from John. Later on, Matt said he was on the phone, but I never heard that from John, so I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah. Oh, I guess I should look for YouTube comments too. I'm really bad at that. Just horrible. Is there anything, like, I've been gone for a while. Is there anything did anything happen? Did anything at all happen?
Not really, no.
Fun.
Nope, nothing. There's been some boots on the ground action a little bit. I hope people are filling in their holes.
No, Jason Sowell wants to know how I became a Winnipeg Jets fan. I don't know anything about it. Graydon came to visit me, and he brought me a Winnipeg Jets hat because I really like hats. And I looked at it, and I was like, is this a sports thing? And he was like, yeah, it's the Jets. And I was like,
you want to see something totally rad?
Okay.
You want to see something totally rad? I'm
Sure.
wearing Winnipeg Jets pajamas.
Nice. Is there snow on the ground?
Dude, there is so much snow on the ground.
This is why I don't live in Canada. It was like 87 degrees here today.
Yesterday was almost minus 40, and today was above zero. So we have like 50-degree fucking variations in temperature in like a 24-hour period.
But anyway, Graydon handed me the hat, and I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "It's the Winnipeg Jets." And I was like, "Is that hockey?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, are they good?" And he's like, "Sometimes." I was like, "No, are they like pro?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, I don't know anything about hockey, so that's it. That's how I became a Winnipeg Jets fan.
The Winnipeg Jets went from Winnipeg, and then they became the Atlanta Thrashers. They were for a while.
The Atlanta, Georgia Thrashers.
Yeah, and then they went back to Winnipeg, like the franchise went back to Winnipeg.
Like, it's too damn hot here. Nobody likes hockey.
Yeah, nobody likes hockey. Nobody likes Atlanta.
Dude, Atlanta's awesome. All the best rap comes from Atlanta. All the best rap. Nice. Yeah.
Georgia.
It's true, man. It's the dirty South.
Yeah. I would go there.
You should. It's fun.
So I also had. Are you still there?
Yeah. Your video just keeps cutting out, and now I'm doubled.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at. I had a question. Oh right, shoot. I had a question from Sunday that I wanted to answer. Oh, I don't know if I can right now. Hold on.
I wonder if I can make my face. No. Okay.
There we go. She had asked me if, as a puzzle creator and an artist, if I look at the images differently, I think was the question. Like if I look at them in a different way than people that don't design puzzles and do art. And yeah, the answer is absolutely yes. I look for like techniques in images and stuff, like the thing that I like seeing the most about your St. Augustine painting was the texturing and like the thickness of the paint on the canvas and all that kind of stuff, right? Like it's interesting to me to see that and see kind of the process. I really enjoy watching Kit Palancar's Instagram because he's been doing these like time-lapse videos of him doing his paintings and stuff, and I learn a lot about painting, like the skill of painting. I learn a lot just from watching those kind of videos and stuff. And of course you can then apply that education to working on the secret kind of thing. I don't necessarily look for those things in the secret images per se necessarily. Like I because they're in a book, you can't really see them that well, right? Like the difference between the St. Augustine image in the book and the painting, when you can see the layering and stuff, like it's astonishing how different they are. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, yeah, I appreciate a lot of the artistic, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess techniques is probably the word, but I don't necessarily apply them to my search, right?
Well, what I think when you're talking about the texture in these paintings, I think what people don't realize is the texture goes on in most cases with these paintings. It seems like, having looked at them, the texture goes on before the paint, right?
Right.
Like the horse rider on top of the mountain in the St. Augustine painting is smooth as glass. The texture of the mountain is a base that's put on the canvas before the painting starts. Like if you look at the Roanoke painting, the figure doing like the medieval scarecrow dude, he's smooth as glass, and you can tell like that area was taped off, and like the rest of it was texturized with some sort of base, and then he accented texture, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like he did splatter, and then he accented the splatter to make the splatter look like it was the texture of a rock.
Right. Montreal, you could probably see it. Like it'd be interesting to see the original of Montreal because he used gold leaf in it, and gold leaf in itself creates kind of a texture. You know what I mean? Like it's very hard to keep it smooth. And just working with gold leaf in general is a nightmare. So I can't even imagine how long that painting took. But Paula we sell gold leaf rolling papers.
Paula said not all artists work like that though. Some mix texture into the paint itself. Yeah, but John does. John works like that. Gold leaf rolling papers. That seems
Yeah.
excessive.
Yeah, it is. They're really dumb. We used to have cellophane ones. They were made like, they look like camera film.
Mm-hmm.
They're made out of plant oil plastics, and yeah, they were gross.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you get any maps of the Fountain of Youth that BP would have had access to, and could you post them? There's really only one. There's a common map that they had, and it was around since the 60s to the, I don't know, late 80s, and it's already online. Somebody asked if they can ask about the anniversary hunt. I don't care. I just, you can ask whatever you want.
I'll talk
Sunday
about the
Funday.
anniversary hunt.
Go ahead, man. I'm kind of
I like
curious
the
what you think.
anniversary hunt. It's cool. I've been having fun with it. A lot of people have been like, I think there's more action going on with the anniversary puzzle than there is the secret.
So, in some ways, yeah.
Right now, and it's you know, it's going.
I know more people are
well.
bugging me about the anniversary hunt than they are about the secret. It's
That's
fun
good.
watching, you know.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I when people are actually working on the Blue Sage puzzles, I enjoy seeing it. Like I wish there was a lot more conversation on the page. Like, I know there's a lot of private conversation that happens behind me, but
Yeah.
I wish there was a lot more discussion kind of within the group.
Somebody asked what my thoughts were on the process. I've realized, like, it's nice. It's nice to see, but I wish that Arthur would have put more definitive things. Like, I wish he would have put more of a definitive thing in the painting so that people could go, oh, that is 100% definitely that, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's missing that. And then I feel like in the verse, I made the mistake of, I tried to write that thing like I do sort of do puzzles, because I figured that's how people would solve them. But I also realized sort of the limitations that people were working with. Like, not everybody can fly across country to find stuff, you know, in person. So you need to use shit that people can find online. And I feel like people working the puzzle the way I work puzzles is almost a detriment, but then again, people working the puzzles the way they work the secret is also a detriment. It's weird. There's a weird fine line, and I'm finding it's very hard for a puzzle maker to purposefully walk that line.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like with Blue Sage 6, one of the puzzles is just like, you can actually just find it. Exactly what it is, you know what I mean? And it's interesting. Like, I don't want to give anything away necessarily, but, you know, like we always say, a good puzzle gives you everything you need to solve it, right? And, you know, sometimes you need to put in things that, like you say, you can just find, right?
Let's see, more questions. George, if you didn't know the location, how long would it have taken you to get to a city? I don't know what that's about. Did I miss the JJP existing solve interviews? Are they coming soon? Yeah, it was the second John interview. A lot of that stuff he didn't want in. Listen to the audio version. There's much more. Has anyone mentioned the right city yet? I mean, I really can't answer that. Probably. I mean, there's been a lot of cities mentioned.
Yeah.
It's been a little crazy. Because, like, some of it's really good. Like, I'll read some of their stuff and I'll be like, whoa, that's really good. It's not right, but it's really good. I feel like once this thing's over, I don't... My biggest concern was people who were going to be like, that was bad, you know? So I tried to make it where it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I tried to build like a story that you'll have to be told the story. You won't ever figure it out. Like once it's there's a reason, there's a reason for where the thing is and why it's there. There's a reason. There's a cool story. You won't know that story until it's over. But and then somebody asked why it was paused. I'll answer that without giving things away. Something that is helpful is unavailable. Yeah. Something that's helpful is unavailable. And it might come back sooner. I don't really know. That's just my guess. I'm assuming it won't be any later than, was it March 11th, I think sort of was.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway.
So any more questions?
Oh, God, there's a lot of them. But they're mostly about the anniversary hunt. And I keep reading them. I'm like, I can't answer that. I mean, I hope people have fun. If it gets to, I think, because me and Arthur didn't want this thing to sit around for a long time, if it gets to the point where it feels hopeless, right now it doesn't feel hopeless. Like looking at, there's some wrong stuff. There's some right stuff, you know, in a sort of vague way. If it gets to where it's hopeless, I'll probably like, oh, here you go. Here's a little thing. But right now, it just seems like people are having fun.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Sunday does a really good job of keeping the conversation going. And
yeah, Sunday's the best.
Yeah. So that's good.
She asked me a question for this thing. I feel like I don't really know the answer, because she said when the tribute came out, I said probably the best way to figure out how to work the tribute was to listen to John's Milwaukee podcast, because it told you exactly how he thought the secret puzzle worked, you know, to the T, and you'd be able to figure out the tribute. And then she asked me which one would be helpful to listen to for the anniversary. And I don't know. It's whichever one where I was like, everybody's wrong, just keep it simple.
I think that was Milwaukee.
Probably was.
I had to listen to that episode a bunch of times for Cole's Corner, the Hands episode. I listened to that Milwaukee podcast like 4 times in a row.
So I don't know. Are we still barred from contacting or asking permission at locations? No, you just go right ahead. And the only thing that thing said was, you can't get the cask. You can still work on the puzzle. You can still do whatever you want. But until that date, it's possible, but it would be very difficult to get the cask. Anything's possible, but it would be difficult.
Has anyone ever asked you if it was actually buried underground?
Yeah, lots of people have never said. Arthur said, but, and this will probably give a little bit too much away too. Arthur wrote that after I had left the secret, right, for my little break, and Arthur didn't know whether it was buried. He assumed. He didn't know.
Interesting.
So I've never said. I've just said it was hidden and well protected, and it is. It is both hidden and well protected.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So buried, maybe. I think somebody said something like the word buried has many meanings. That's true.
That is very true, yeah. Mm-hmm. Going back inside my house because it's cold outside in Canada.
Josh Wright said, I think the internet and time has ruined the easy solve. It's all over thought, and so much has changed throughout the years. I agree with that when it comes to the secret. Because like all of these people, like a bunch of people get into the secret, but not all of these people can travel, and not everyone has the personality type where they can like communicate and be friends with a whole group of people, you know?
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like I'm not saying anybody has a bad personality. I'm just saying, like, you get this many people together, not everybody's gonna be friends. So like they get to the end of their solution and they can't go dig and they can't test it and they can't check it out, so they just keep finding new stuff and overthinking it to hell. So.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side of that coin, though, too, you got to remember that the internet solved Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So, in that sense, it was, it's a good thing.
Finn said his chest wasn't buried, but it was dug in, so the lid was at ground level. Like, look, I have always been a proponent of getting permission to dig, and I know how difficult it is to get permission to dig. So I wanted to make sure that, and I know how much it sucks to spend like $1,000 to fly across the country and get a hotel room to dig a hole that's empty, and then you got to fly back, right? I wanted to make sure those things never happen to anybody, right? So once you, if you don't know you're right, and if you're in a place that requires permission, don't know exactly who to ask permission to, like their name,
Yeah.
you're not right. So
Hey, Remy.
Just a baby.
Yeah.
Can you solve the secret, please, for us?
Yeah, but
Where
can
do
you
you
solve the
think it's
secret for us?
buried? Where do you think the treasure is?
Where's the treasure, Remy? Don't know. She's like, this guy knows.
Oh, nice. She's like, the treasure is the friends you make along the way.
Yeah. So can you say, like, this is an anniversary hunt question. Can you say that, like, when you get to the end of the puzzle, you absolutely know who to ask permission to?
You should, if you need
should?
to. If
Right.
That's the thing. If you need to, like, I'm always very vague about. Somebody asked me what I smoked. There you go. If you need to, you should. You should know their. You should know who. You should know their name.
Yeah. If you need to.
And somebody asked if you could solve it all, if you could fully find a location through Google Maps and Street View. The last I looked, most everything you could. Like you could. I think. I mean, I know the location, so it's easy for me to find this stuff. But I think you should be able to find everything, almost everything, at least enough, online.
I have another anniversary question for you. And maybe you might not even be able to answer it, but sorry, take your little guy. What should people rely on more, the verse or the painting?
Arthur didn't know where the thing was buried.
He didn't know?
So
could you do this without the image?
No.
That's cool.
But like, so you say that and it's misleading, right? Like when I say Arthur didn't know where the thing was buried, it's misleading. And we kind of did it the same way Byron and John did it, right? Like John knew that the Boston treasure was buried in a ball field in Boston, right? But he didn't know which one, and he didn't know where. Yeah. Even if he knew which ball field, he didn't know where,
Yeah.
So saying that could mean Arthur knew the general area. Arthur could get you, within 50 feet of it, but he doesn't know where it's buried, if it's buried.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
And to make it clear, when I say buried, it's out of habit.
Yeah. Where it's located. We can say located.
With the anniversary, would you consider the puzzle hard or easy? I think it's easy. But
it's because you know where it is.
That's because I know where it is. Have you figured out some of what Arthur pictured in the painting? Yeah. And I think like a lot having looked at it. And I feel like that thing that Sunday used to talk about, like one of the other puzzles that he did with you, right? Where it was like Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
He had painted sort of a story that led you to Starbucks. I figured that out in the anniversary hunt, and that was creative as shit. So yeah, I would say like most of Arthur's painting, there's still stuff that I don't quite understand. but most of it is like, oh, okay, yeah, I get where you're going with that. The thing that's always been interesting to me, Georgia said this thing was 99% Arthur's idea. It was. Arthur came to me and he was like, it's the 40th anniversary. I want to do something that honors the people who made this book and sort of the project they took on and remaining friends afterwards and, you know, doing all this stuff together. He was like, I want to create a treasure hunt. And he's like, he laid out 9/10 of what he wanted. And he was like, and we came up with a theme. We came up with all this stuff. And he was like, I'm going to mail this to you. Just bury it somewhere. And he was like, we'll do it just like The Secret does. You just give me a couple of things and a little bit of information, and I'll build a painting and you write a verse. And I was like, all right.
Cool. Yeah, when
Arthur,
he did that puzzle, when he did the puzzle with me, he was, he basically did the exact same thing. Like, he just told me, like, we had a location right off the bat, and then I just gave him and Brody the reins, and he told me, like, basically just give me a few things, right? And I don't know how long it took him to make the anniversary painting, but like I said on that one stream, it was astonishing how fast he got the Blue Sage puzzle painting finished. Like, it's big, it's a complete picture, and there's a lot to it, right? Detail and everything, and like how he does that, how he did that, it was unbelievable.
Arthur was good, dude. He was
man.
Everything he did, he was good at.
Yeah.
Natalie, she posted a video and she said at 4:09, you said we put this thing in the ground. You go and you dig up everything. It sucks, man, because it feels like people think I'm trying to trick them when I say I won't say definitively if it's buried, but I feel like once you get to the end, you'll understand that, because it's not a trick. I'm not lying, right? When I say it's tricky. Okay, it's just tricky. Not like dig on the wrong side of the plan or tricky, but once you get to the end, I hope people will be like, oh wow, okay, that is the perfect way to do that, you know?
It'll be interesting once it gets found to analyze it. I hope I get an exclusive Cole's Corner interview with George Ward.
Yeah.
The day that gets found.
It was probably my most fun that I've had in a really long time. And
that's good.
Yeah, it was just like, because it involved so much stuff and like there wasn't a whole lot of I don't want to say there wasn't a whole lot of planning, because there was a decent amount of planning. I don't know. I can't say too much. Like once everybody locks down a city, and I can say a little bit more, but it's cool. I like the way it ends.
That's sweet. That's exciting. Over there.
Anyway.
Why?
Oh, we've only been going for 45 minutes. I forgot how hard it is to just talk about The Secret for 2 hours. We haven't even really talked about The Secret that much. We've been talking about this anniversary thing. Like, nobody else cares. There's like 6 people who are like, oh, that's great. And the rest of them are like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I suppose that was inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like because we didn't want this thing, like, to take years, that I don't need to be so, close-lipped. Like John with the tribute, he wanted to stick around for a while, so he was very close-lipped. I feel like I need to be that way, because I'd rather it be found.
My hair. No, it didn't.
Anyway, so who's winning the race, Cole?
Right now, looks like Cole Custer's up front,
I don't know who that
which is good. He's on my team. And I can't tell who the other guy is, but this track is wild. It's Fontana, and they get like 5 wide all the time. And they're just restarting from a caution that happened. Sheldon Creed got sent into the infield wall pretty hard.
Jason Sells said, I smashed my middle finger today looking in 2 places. I bled for 20 minutes, damn lid. Like, I feel like you shouldn't have to injure yourself.
Yeah, no kidding. That might be going a little far.
There might be a slight bit of danger involved in the end, but you shouldn't be injuring yourself.
Yeah. Is there any danger involved in the end of the anniversary?
Not really. No.
Not really.
I wouldn't say
That's
so.
good.
I felt very safe.
Yeah.
Maybe for hunters because they like. No, there's no danger.
There's no danger.
I can say more about it later, but no, there's no danger. You're not gonna die.
Yeah.
Any news on the golden apple tail? It seems to be stalled. Not really. I mean, I feel like with the golden apple tail, everybody got really excited because there was a lot of news, but then people jumped into it and realized, oh shit, this is hard.
That's a hard puzzle.
You know,
yeah.
That one hadn't been found for 40 years, not because people aren't looking, because people were very actively looking. It hadn't been found because this is hard.
It is really hard.
So,
are you gonna do any more of the like the YouTube series that you were working on?
Which one?
Like about the different types of ciphers and stuff?
Yeah, I wanted to do it on Pigpen Cipher because people actually wanted that. It was weird. And people started requesting ciphers to be done. So I wanted to do one on like Pigpen and just some of the, my goal with it was people are like interested, it seems, when they're doing puzzles in ciphers. Like they're looking at the tribute hunt for ciphers, they're looking at the anniversary hunt for ciphers, but they don't exactly know what they're looking for. They're just taking random letters and what seems like patterns to them and putting them in a website and seeing if it spits anything out. So I'd rather go, okay, here are basic ciphers and here's how they work. So if you understand how they work, you know what to look for.
Yeah.
Like, you know you know that there can't be like a Caesar cipher that is a plain text sentence that also translates into another plain text. You see what I'm saying? Like, you'll know that because you know how Caesar ciphers work. So
it'd be interesting to do like it'd be interesting to do a series on like just different puzzles in general, right? Like do an episode on the will and do an episode on the golden apple and things like that. Like just kind of 1 hour little rundowns sort of about those puzzles, right? Cain's jawbone. Because like you kind of started that with when you and Chris Woodford had that discussion about cicada. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I really like. I don't. It's difficult because you have to get people who know these puzzles, and most of these puzzles are so old that people don't care anymore. Like finding somebody to talk about cicada is difficult, you know.
Yeah. And
it gets so far out of the wheelhouse of normal secret treasure hunters. Like when you start talking about like,
I know how to.
Not steganography. Once you start talking about hiding puzzles inside of images and stuff, like it's way outside of the wheelhouse of most secret hunters. So let's see if there's more comments. Most of our comments are coming from Facebook today. It's really nice. The baseball field in Roanoke. Can you talk about the GPR readings there? There's not much to it. We scanned the baseball fields in Roanoke, and the only anomaly was under home plate on the field closest to the Lions Club. That's like everything else looked the exact same. Everything else was the exact same consistency. Like the field, like hadn't changed. But underneath that home plate, there was a void of some sort, and the shitty thing was it was flooded when we ran the GPR over it. So the water screws with the way the GPR reads the soil, so it didn't exactly know how far down that void. That void could be 4 feet down. We have no idea, you know. It looked like it was about 10 or 12 feet down from the GPR, but we know that's inaccurate. So someone dug a hole under there and didn't find anything. To be clear, it wasn't me. But yeah, with the GPR reading, because the field was flooded, we just have no idea how far down it was.
Okay.
That's cool. GPR is neat.
W.
Do you think the back of the book stuff ties painting to poem to city, but not spot? So What do you think, Cole?
No, not well. I mean, I could see how people might might use the back of the book to kind of confirm for themselves things in the front, but I'd personally put next to zero stock in the back of the book. But
yeah, my thing is like everything that's ever been said by any of the people who worked on this book about the back of the book, the only thing they've said is it's not relevant.
yeah.
You know, Byron said it in several interviews that the back of the book was irrelevant to the treasure hunt. The Japanese book says, let me see if I can pull that up. I don't know. I'll put the translation out shortly because I've been going through the Japanese book and just translating the whole damn thing. The back of the book says that the preface in the back of the book says that it's for entertainment purposes only. It had nothing to do with the treasure hunt. In order to find the treasures, focus on the painting and the verse. That the back of the book was just there for entertainment, and because of that, they rewrote the stories of all the fairies. So a long time ago, we had this Japanese podcast where we said that the back of the book was it wasn't direct translation. It was stories that Futami, the publisher, had already owned that they put in place of the stories of the fair folk, right? And then once translation apps got a little bit better, we started realizing that, these stories are kind of similar to the stories that are in the back of the English book. Like you would translate the Japanese book and it would be kind of similar. Like the Maitre Demon was about hoity-toity, whatever, people in restaurants, right? And then as translation stuff got much, much, much better and we were able to import more data, you could see that and it even says in the Japanese book, what they did was they took the title of the character and they wrote a new story based on what they thought the title meant. So it's kind of similar because they're writing about the same thing, but it's completely different.
That's kind of cool.
That's the thing with me in the back of the book. Like nobody's ever been able to definitively show me anything that helps. That's not after the fact, you know. Nobody's ever been able to point to anything that helps for anything we don't already know. And everybody that's worked on the book has said it was irrelevant to the treasure hunt. So that's my opinion until someone proves me wrong.
Yeah.
Being the owner of the St. Augustine painting, have you found any image matches on the original not shown or found on the published image? It's actually more difficult to look at the St. Augustine painting and see matches than it is to look in the book or the reconstructed images because this thing is so freaking glossy that everything just reflects light off of it. So yeah, it's actually harder to look at the regular painting, which sucks.
Does that go for all the other ones? Like you've seen a couple of the other originals, haven't you?
Dude, the Roanoke painting's like a mirror. It's crazy. It's crazy how reflective that thing is.
I imagine Cleveland would be a lot like that too.
Cleveland's actually kind of matte. It's not.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of varnish or whatever he put on some of these, but not all of them. But dude, St. Augustine painting is glossy as shit. Roanoke really does look like a mirror. It's nuts.
What all originals have you seen in person? Or can you even answer that?
I have never seen the Chicago painting. I've never seen the Charleston painting. I haven't seen in person the Houston painting.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
You've seen the Montreal one in person?
Kinda. Part of it. Not all of it.
Part of it?
Daddy, I draw a map.
Is it a treasure map?
Is it a treasure map?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where's it go?
I'm gonna send him on a treasure hunt tomorrow when he gets home from school.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like in here?
Yeah.
Like.
I know. I'm gonna.
Are you working on a sequel? I don't know what that's a sequel for, but no.
On a sequel to the Secret Podcast? Secret Podcast 2.
The Secreter Podcast.
The Secreter Podcast.
We have more secrets.
Yeah, we just come on and don't talk.
Do you guys believe that there is an X marks the spot in each painting? If so, would you share which ones you feel? No, I don't feel like any of them has an X marks the spot. What do you think, Cole?
I think there are things that are representative of an X marks the spot. And I actually, so a while back, I developed what I called the holes theory, in that, so Chicago was where I started to look for it, right? And you have to have a conceptual understanding of the z-axis in art, right? So that's your depth axis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the Chicago painting and you take the picture, like you take the fence, right? The fence piece that's in the middle. And if you draw a line from there down, I think it's to the right, there's a hole, it looks like a culvert in the castle hat, right?
Okay.
And I thought that was kind of, that was representative of the cask. So then if you go to Cleveland, right, the wall that the planter is on in Cleveland is in the image, but it's drawn into the inside of the fireplace kind of thing, right? And so, but in real life, there's holes in 4 sections of this wall. Like there's those 4 big square holes there, right? And I thought, it was interesting to me that in all the found ones, there's an opening of some kind near the thing that shows you where the cask is, right? So in Boston, the thing that told us where to dig essentially was the foot sliding into home plate, right? And her hands are opening a cask, like it's opening the box, right? So I had kind of that idea, and I was, I have applied it to other puzzles, but not all of them have a lot of this stuff, right? In Montreal especially, because there's no openings in Montreal at all. Like there's no windows, nothing. So
yeah.
But
let me grab a tool.
Okay. George is grabbing a tool.
For what?
I don't know. What do tools do, Maverick? They fix stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hammer.
And they hammer stuff. That's right. Want to talk to everybody? Say hi.
Hi.
Oh God, where are my tools?
He can't find his tools. Tell him to find his tools.
No.
George, find your tools.
Come on, find your tools now.
So he's trying to find his marks.
Yeah, he's trying to find his
Okay.
marbles. There he is. George has his tool.
Let's take ourselves back to 1982.
Okay.
And let's go to Houston. So, in order to put an X marks a spot in the Houston painting, John would need 2 things. He would need a photo of where this is buried with enough detail to where he could paint a painting, right? He would need an in focus with enough in focus photo with enough detail to where he could figure out distances from things, right? He would also need to know exactly where in a park it was buried. The 2 tools he had to use were Polaroids, which are blurry as shit, have no real depth, and are about that big, right? And a map, which this is a map from Rand McNally called Houston Up Close. Let me find Herman Park here. Memorial Park, Herman Park. This is Herman Park.
That is a big
Right?
map.
If you can
Yeah.
tell me how, with a Polaroid and this map, you could put an X and you could use those 2 things to make an X on a painting, does that make sense? He wouldn't have enough information without being there to put an X on the painting. And he was at Cleveland, and he didn't put an X on that painting. So if he didn't put an X on the painting where he was actually there, I don't see how he could put an X on a painting if he wasn't. Does that make sense? Just with the technology that was available. Now maybe he could with Google Maps and shit. You could just put a pin on a map and be like, it's right here, and he could drop the pen and then go to Street View and look around. But back in the 80s, he wouldn't be able to. So, X on a painting? No, probably not. I feel like John's not lying when he said, like Byron sent him a bunch of stuff to put in a painting. He put it in the painting. You know, it's stuff you got to look for. And the verse takes you to the like the verse was written by the dude that buried it. Like that's it's gonna take you to it. Anyway, that was a long drawn out way to answer that question.
That was a good question.
I guess. Anyway, Cole, you're being very quiet.
What's that?
You're being very quiet.
Yeah, sorry, the race is intense.
That's all right. I accidentally went off my live streaming thing for Facebook. Uh-oh.
Does that mean you stopped streaming on Facebook?
No, I think I can go back to it. I don't think I stopped streaming on Facebook.
I'm going to go and see if there's any questions. Everybody just wants to talk to George. Everyone just wants to talk to George. I was all by myself. No one was listening. I was talking to George. I lost the thing.
Let's see.
Hey.
What about travel brochures? You know. Would you ever decide to make an armchair treasure hunt separate from the secret? Sorry, that he said he's repeating this question. I didn't see it before. I made a puzzle that had nothing to do with the secret, and no one got anywhere close to figuring that shit out. Like not even close. People were like guessing. People hadn't. So it's a web page, right? And you go to the web page, and you look around and you think you find the puzzle, and you start working on it, but what you're finding isn't actually the puzzle. Like nobody, as far as I know, found the actual puzzle in this puzzle.
You mentioned that in the one Cipher episode that you did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the legacy.
Yeah,
the puzzle. Yeah. Nobody ever like, but that was hard. That was built for people like way outside the secret community. That was built for puzzle, like Cipher people, you know, and people who are into like technology based hunts.
Yeah.
Because there was a decent amount of technology involved in that. Like it's not something you can solve from your phone. You need a computer.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, did JJP have to approve those edits? I don't know what that means. September 22nd. I also don't know what that means. John mentioned the front of the book possibly having some sort of code. He did.
Read.
But he also clarified that was his opinion. We need a back of the book roundtable. I think we could convince you. I'm cool with that. Let's plan a back of the book roundtable. Yeah.
Yeah.
My thing is like it's hard to get anybody to come on and talk about the back of the book besides like Carly, and Carly's you know, great to talk to, but it's just one opinion over and over and over again. Yeah, get back of the book people to get together, man. I'll talk to you about it. Please convince me. I don't think you're gonna, but please do. Please try.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want more than anything. I want a St. Louis person to come on and convince me of St. Louis.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're open to being wrong.
Yeah. I'm like if everybody's right, this puzzle's going nowhere. You know?
Yeah.
Prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's the game.
Do you think there are any nursery rhyme elements to some of the puzzles? I think the New Orleans painting has a lot of nursery rhymes in it.
Yep.
Oh, I see what. So Evie was asking about JJP approving edits. She said thoughts on the few items that Byron adjusted in a few paintings. I don't know. I think some stuff made things easy and some stuff made things more complicated. Like the New Orleans, or I'm sorry, not the New Orleans, the Montreal fleur-de-lis. That could easily be confused for New Orleans, like very, very easily. I feel like the St. Augustine fort made that shit too easy. You know, as soon as you see that, you go, "Oh, it's St. Augustine." That's the one thing the city's known for. church in New York, I have no idea.
Yeah, that one's weird. The thing that, like, Montreal, of course, has the black blotch over the fleur-de-lis, and the shape of it is what's always really intrigued me about that. You know what I mean? Because he could have just blacked it out with a square, right? Or like a circle like he did in St. Augustine or something, but he chose that particular shape. And I always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. In theory, could triangulation between spots in the painting solve the X marks the spot idea? I feel like people are obsessed with these paintings because that's the easy part. You know, you can look at the paintings and see whatever you want. But I don't know that there has ever been a treasure hunt that was, you know, successful and large that did that. You know, that wasn't done by the artist themselves. You know, like the paintings weren't done by the person who buried the thing. I don't know that there's ever been one where a painting triangulated where you would dig. There's always words or verses or explanations or something that tells you where to go. And the paintings just sort of help along the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, it's possible. Like, I don't know. I think if John's not outright lying, which he gets very angry when you say he is, as I have learned, he doesn't know where they're buried, you know? Now, what that means is up to interpretation. Does he not know the cities? Does he not know the states? Does he not know X, Y, or Z? Like, that seems unlikely. I think it just means he doesn't know where they're buried. Like I say it all the time. I could tell you there's a cask buried in my front yard, but you don't know where it's buried. You could dig out there for a week and never find it.
Yeah.
Cole and George, have either of you read Abroad in America? Have you read Abroad in America?
I've skimmed it.
I'm skimming the parts that I like.
I'm in Canada, so we don't like. It's a tough. Like, I shouldn't say it's a tough book to get, but it's.
I'm going to send you a copy. I think I got a couple.
It's not a common read out here.
I got a first edition hardback.
Nice.
That was a gift.
Okay.
Yeah. The person who, like, randomly for Christmas one year, the person that has without saying who they are, person that has the tribute cask that's holding it for the winner, randomly sent me that one year. I was like, thank you. That's really sweet.
Cool. Yeah.
So the only one that I could get behind, the only painting I could get behind there being an X in is Houston.
Yeah. There's so much perspective work in that painting.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really interesting the way he did that.
Yeah.
But that painting has to be huge. Like that's got to be a big.
It's not that big.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's about the same size as the St. Augustine painting.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's cool.
You say you want someone to change your mind and convince you of St. Louis, that we will get nowhere if the commonly accepted are right. My question is, what would it take to convince you of another location? It seems like no matter what someone brings to the table, no matter how good, it's not convincing enough for the majority to change their minds. So what would it take? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
That's right.
So you need evidence that gets that shows that John Palancar, when he said the cities are correct, was wrong. And your evidence can't be, well, I think he was just saying that to appease people or whatever. Because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't need to appease you. He doesn't care, right?
No.
If they weren't correct, he would be like, no, you guys are dumb. 40 years, you haven't figured this out. And it like that interview wasn't the first time he said it, you know? So you'd need extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
Like in order to prove to me that the Montreal painting isn't in Montreal, you would need more than an exact leg eater. Like you could find a leg eater in San Francisco or in St. Louis, and it still wouldn't be enough. You would need more because Montreal has more than that going for it. See what I'm saying? Like it just needs, the evidence needs to be better. I'm not saying that evidence isn't out there. I'm just saying you got to find it before anybody will, before the majority of hunters will take that idea seriously.
Yeah.
So a cask, not a cask, just a good idea. Like for the longest time, hunters thought the San Francisco verse was for New Orleans until Abroad in America was found. And we were like, oh, okay, that's the New Orleans verse. It would need to be something like that. It would need to be something definitive, something that couldn't really be argued.
Yeah.
So, anyway. What are your kids whispering to you?
Nevik's explaining his drawing to me.
Oh.
He's doing art while he's sitting here with me.
Nice.
And this is
Getting pretty good.
This is the bed, and this is and then they're banded, but this guy is not, but he didn't do anything. But this is a main police officer, so we take him to jail.
Oh, he drew a jail. George works in a jail sometimes.
Yeah. So Cole, so you got a question, but I'm going to go with this first. What's next for Cole's Corner? Because people actually seem to like that. And you seem to be having fun with it.
Yeah, I definitely am. Now that I have a good editing program and stuff, I've been really enjoying it. And actually, I don't know. I'm still I want to do this Montreal episode of the podcast so bad, but every one of the guests that I had lined up kind of fell off the face of the planet. So it just sort of got set on the back burner. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a sort of what I'm calling a diet Montreal 2.0, where it's an episode of Cole's Corner, and I'm just going to basically analyze the puzzle from a few different perspectives, not just my own kind of thing, but because the whole point of that show isn't to try and solve the puzzles, right? That's what we do here and on the regular podcast, right? It's just to show new ways to look at things, right? And so I kind of have an idea lined up for how I'm going to do that. So it'll be a lot of fun.
That's fun.
But yeah,
I do feel like the podcast becomes sort of a little bit of an echo chamber. Like we have people on that challenge our ideas, but I want to say there are very few times when we're actually convinced to change our ideas. So it's good to take a step back and look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I so worry about that, right? Like the podcast is just gonna be an echo chamber, just like 4 or 5 guys sitting around being like, "You be simple."
Yeah. Probably my favorite episode of the original 12 was the Milwaukee one, right? With the actual walkthrough and stuff like that. Like if we could start doing more things like that, it'd probably be it'd be a lot of fun. Now that COVID doesn't exist anymore, things like that are possible, right?
Yeah. And we could do it in St. Augustine. I'll go walk around.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I guess. If you want me to. We got to stay out of the Fountain of Youth, though. They don't like you filming in there anymore.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you don't think it's at the Fountain of Youth, so...
I don't.
Yeah.
But I have no good reason for why.
We could walk your solve, just like JM did with Milwaukee.
My solve in Milwaukee. That would be a very quick, this looks like this in the painting, and I have no other reason to be here. That's hard, man. I feel like everybody got off on a tangent with either St. Augustine was at the Fountain of Youth, and it was shit got changed when the bank owned it, and we're just missing something, or it has nothing to do with the Fountain of Youth, and Byron just coincidentally used some words, and we'll never figure out where it actually is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Matthew Johnson said he can walk Houston anytime now. Just let him know.
Tight.
That'd be fun. We should do that. We should do that. We should get hunters to just grab a camera or grab their smartphone or whatever, and just let's walk around their ideas and just talk about them while they're there.
Yeah. You could get Montreal would be a lot of fun, right? I'm sure it'd be easy to do. We're planning a trip to Montreal for Canada Day this year. So
Nice.
I want to, which would be the perfect day to dig, because the city is very, very busy, right? Like Canada Day is bonkers, and especially over there. So, I could do a walk around there, right? Maybe meet up with Rebecca or something and go walk around the mountain and the Mount Stephen Club and all that.
You guys can just yell at each other.
Yeah, it'll be fun. She'll start yelling at me in French, and that's how you know she's mad.
Yeah.
And then I don't know French, so.
Oh, there's more questions that came in. Yay. Where was that? So Jason Seligan said, guys, I only found this whole secret thing about 4 or 5 months ago. Can you give a short explanation of how things have changed over the time you've been involved in terms of participation and search methods being used? Do you want to do that, or you want me to?
No, I can. I'll speak to it anyways. As far as participation goes, our community grows constantly. Go see Mo. The community constantly grows, and unfortunately, there's always that sort of a wall that people hit when new people come in, and then they ask a question how are you pairing the verses and the images, right? It's that search function that people don't seem to use much. And then everybody has to go in there and bomb them with the old information and all that stuff. And then they can, it's the catching up part that is difficult, I think, for a lot of people, or getting caught up to where we are as a community kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
What was the other part of that question?
That was it. Just how has it changed? From my perspective, when I first started on this, there was only 30 of us looking. And
right.
There were a couple of just huge assholes, and there were only 2 or 3, so they were easy to ignore. And the other 27 of us just worked together, not on a particular goal, but everybody had ideas, and then everyone else helped that person flesh those ideas out. And if whatever we fleshed out worked, we adopted it. And if it didn't, we discarded it and we moved on to the next thing. That's how people like to throw up. Well, Brian Zinn was looking in Philadelphia before Johan told him about Cleveland. Yeah, that's kind of true, but it's kind of not, because they were all working together, right?
Yeah.
They were all finding information, and there was a pretty big gap of time between those two things. Anyway, that's the way it used to be. And then people came in, and it's harder to use that technique of everybody working together when there's 14,000 of you. It's like herding cats.
Yeah.
So that's how it changed. I think small groups benefit a lot, because they can do what we used to do. That's how it's changed for me. Somebody asked, are you still doing Byron's journal videos in the future? So I'm working on a project that's bigger than anything I've done, and I'm not even I'm not even planning it. I'm just helping. And it's either going to do one of two things. It's either going to make me put off Byron's journal until next year, or it's going to make filming Byron's journal this year a hell of a lot easier. And I don't really know which. I have a meeting next week that will help me decide, and then hopefully after that meeting I'll be able to tell everybody what it is, because I'm really excited about it, and I want you guys to be excited too. I think it's gonna tie up a lot of loose ends for the secret and answer a lot of questions and settle a lot of controversies, and be a really cool thing.
Sweet, man. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. Somebody that I never expected reached out and was like, hey, we're doing this thing and we want you involved. And I was like, shit, okay.
Cool.
So anyway.
Well, that's super fun.
This isn't a dig, but peeps with alternative ideas think it's a new thing. Literally the only thing that's been done in the secret for 40 years is to look at all the cities in the U.S. The commonly accepted cities is only a few years old, and even then people still look everywhere. I don't understand that question. Commonly accepted cities aren't a few years old. They've been common for a while.
Can you do something about that? She's gonna fall. My daughter is an absolute daredevil, and my nerves can't handle it.
At the Fountain of Youth, how did the silver salt cellar supposedly get there? The story of that doesn't seem to make sense. Do you think it was a lie to attract tourists? I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibilities. That Lula Day lied about that in the early 1900s, because she wasn't like a archaeologist or anything. She didn't care about the truth. She cared about your money. But I will say that the vellum, or whatever it's called, the piece of paper that was in the silver salt cask has been like dated, and it's from the correct date. And they found it, like a handwriting analysis, so they know it was written by the scribe it was supposed to have been written by.
Cool.
Yeah, they've never done any tests in the silver salt cellar because it's not around anymore. But the paper they've done. So, are we almost done? Seems like we're almost done.
Yeah.
It was the first Sunday Funday. It was weird doing this again.
Yeah, it was fun. And I have the next
fun.
3 Sundays off, so we can do it again.
Okay, we need other people. Like, we can't just do random question day every. We gotta get
Sunday
somebody.
Funday.
Somebody has to come on and talk on Sunday Funday next week. And I feel like I almost want to say maybe we won't do this every Sunday, because that was getting a little tedious.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody wants to come on and talk. TC Brown says, "Hey George, can you verify how you are 100% sure the cask is in St. Augustine?" Oh my god. So Byron said it was. Byron and John Palancar both named that painting the St. Augustine painting. Byron handed me that painting and said it's nice that the painting's going to be in its hometown. And he's never been to this city before. I asked him that.
You mean JJP?
JJP said that. I'm sorry. When he handed me the painting, he said it was nice that it was going to be in its hometown. Sloy, the fort, like, I don't know. I feel like if that's not enough evidence, then nothing I say is going to convince you. But then again, like, the thing for hunters that are in the accepted cities, like, they get really angry when people aren't in the accepted cities. But I'm like, why get angry? Because they're not looking in your city. Who gives a shit? It's not like they're going to find it before you. You know, the people in St. Louis aren't a hindrance to the people in Montreal. The people who are swapping the Montreal and Milwaukee verse around and looking on top of a mountain, they're not a hindrance to the people who are looking at, you know, the Mount Stevens Club. So other than, like, online arguments, who cares?
No, it's my idea.
Caroline is bothering me during.
No, it's me that's bothering you.
Okay.
Why aren't you wearing your earphones? Did you leave them in your pocket?
No.
Okay, that's what I was worried about, because I heard something in the dryer, and I thought it was something not.
No.
Make sure I didn't.
Thank you.
See, it wasn't you, Caroline. It was me.
Okay. Sorry. Apparently, Caroline wanted to know why I wasn't wearing my earbuds. That I don't remember what I was talking about. Anyway, I guess that can be it. And then we can go and then come back. And if somebody wants to talk next week, that would be great. If somebody wants to talk about St. Louis or an alternate city, like, feel free, dude. I'd love, like, I'm trying to adopt with Sunday Funday. It got really difficult, because I don't know. It got kind of argumentative towards the end. I want to adopt a different sort of philosophy with this stuff. Like, I feel like I want less people to come on and be like, I want to convince you of shit, or, you know, I want to have a debate, and more like, let's just talk about your ideas. Let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses or whatever, without really judgment. Sort of like that episode with I don't want to say old. That lady came on, was talking about Key West, right? There was no real argument. It wasn't argumentative. We just talked about the benefits and the downfalls of that. So I feel like if we adopt that new style,
more analysis than anything.
Yeah. Let's just go through some shit and talk about it. Why not?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And also, like, with Cole's Corner, if there's anything anybody wants me to talk about or discuss on that show, obviously let me know. Because sometimes
And we need to do the not beginner. What was it we were talking about? Like pitfalls. Pitfalls new hunters come into.
Yeah, that, and then there was also, we were talking about like you had mentioned a long time ago that a lot of people just don't know how to work puzzles, and we were going to discuss that.
Yeah, that one.
So we can do that very soon.
And then we're also planning a podcast episode where we talk about mental health. Like I feel like especially with the sort of temperature that the secret community has right now, a mental health episode might be pretty good. So that sounds like kind of lame, but I think I convinced you and Brett to both be on it. Like convincing Brett to be on something like this is it would almost take like $1 million in curing world hunger, but he seems very interested. So I'm hoping everybody else will like that. But anyway, I guess that's it. We'll sign off. Anything you want to say before leaving?
No.
Do you want to drop a mic on anything or something?
No.
All right. Later, everybody.
Bye-bye.